In this video, we're going to do a few things. First, we're going to get out of just a social media marketing calendar, and we're going to work on an overall marketing calendar.
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
And it's going to be for a local business. A local business might be a very wide range of types of businesses. It's essentially a category of businesses that can serve clients within a certain radius. So think about doctors' offices, gyms, stores, home improvement, home repair, cleaning, dentists, mechanics, coffee shops, restaurants. Essentially, businesses that are traditional types of businesses that usually have a storefront, not always, and draw people from a certain radius. What's interesting about them is these businesses actually make up a very large percentage of all businesses that people start. So it's a fantastic example. And ironically, the marketing between them is quite similar. It doesn't matter if you're a psychotherapist or a roofer. Even though these are very different businesses, the actual marketing strategies, you'll see, they actually are relatively similar. And they start from the idea that because these are very proven services, people seek them out when they need them. Maybe years ago, if you're old enough, even before the internet started, you'd have a yellow page book that you'd have, at least in America you did, and if you needed glass repair or a mechanic, you'd open the yellow page book and you'd start looking through that. And today that yellow page book is essentially Google. So what I've done for you is actually, you see on top that first line right here, I made a list of the top 10 marketing strategies for a local business. Let's go through them just so that we're on the same page. And then we're going to go through the marketing calendar for that business. Again, not a social media marketing calendar, but a marketing calendar overall in which the social media is only one piece. See, so now we're thinking more holistically about your business. And you'll see number 4 is social media. And I made this in a little bit of an order of priority. Obviously, different businesses have different needs, but this is how I'd approach things. Your website is going to be really important because that's one way people find you. But even if they don't find you through your website, when they do research about your business, they're going to browse your website, and your website should be what's called highly converting, meaning out of all the visitors, how many people actually end up taking the next steps, calling you, visiting your store. And so you always have to improve everything about your site, your design, your copywriting, etc., to make it more appealing and compelling. And this is an ongoing process, more or less. You can always do something to improve your website a little bit. You don't have to go crazy about it, but at least you should pay attention to it, especially in the beginning and especially until you get it to a very good point. And a lot of these are things that you would do, things that you would focus on very strongly in the beginning. But let's say your website becomes an amazing website, then you have to change it a lot less often, and you don't have to spend as much time on it long term. And that's a lot of these strategies. So that's the website, yeah. The local SEO, how people find you, that's SEO for your website, but it's also your listing on some sites like Yelp, and it's also your listing on, that Google map. That's all part of local SEO, and that's a huge focus because this kind of a business is something that people search for. Your clients will be searching for this. You have to rank highly in Google, and that's free. But if you look at number 3, ads, you can run Google ads. Again, these are search-based ads. You can run other ads, but I recommend starting with Google ads, maybe retargeting ads. So that's a high priority. And again, you set these up once and you focus on it early, but then most of the time they just run on autopilot and you don't have to revisit it very much. Then, of course, social media. You don't have to go crazy about social media for most local businesses. Just post 1 or 2 pictures a week, 1 or 2 posts a week. The reason people buy from local services is not because they have fun Instagram accounts. The reason people buy from these services is because these are very needed, common services. When people need it, they engage. So the focus here is not so much on social media. And that's true for a lot of kinds of businesses. Same with products, same with freelancing. Social media does tend to be a little overrated. It tends to be one of the apparent things that people understand, but it's not necessarily the highest priority. Then, of course, you want to participate in your community, that local awareness, local branding, not to mention that's the beginning of your recommendations. People who know about you, who you've met in person, with whom you've established a relationship, they're going to recommend you. Of course, your customer support, maybe it should be higher on our list. This is ongoing and you want to delight your customers and spend a lot of time with them until they're happy, because that is going to get them talking about your business. That's going to get them to recommend it, but also that's going to get them to come back and be repeat customers. It's really important, especially for new businesses. And customer support is part of your marketing. Then number 7, also maybe arguably should be higher, product or service quality. And this is also something you want to improve all the time. People have a tendency to say, oh, my product or service is great. And it might be good, but it can always be better. And that's actually a huge goal, is to always try to become better and better and better. Because when you do, everything becomes easier. It's easier to sell. You get more recommendations. Customers are happier. They stay on longer, and so on and so on. So this is actually much more important than most people give it priority, the improvement of your product or service. Then 8 and 9 are building a professional network, referral network. And number 9 is building a customer referral network. So these are professional referral network and customer referral network. And number 10 is essentially having a nicer storefront, because again, for a local business, again, not all local businesses have a storefront, but if yours does, you need to work on having a nicer one, because that's going to get the attention of passerby foot traffic. So now that you understand the top 10 things that you should be doing for your marketing, with social media only being one of them, let's go over your week's work of marketing and see where everything falls. And we don't need to go over the full month, because whatever you do on the first week, we'll just repeat the next week. We'll repeat the next week. The only changes that will happen is there are some things that are high priority, like website work, local SEO, ads. Pretty soon, they're going to be more on autopilot, more automated. When they become more automated, in the time that you used to work on them, that time is going to open up. So when that time opens up, you fill that time with next priority strategies that are ongoing. Maybe once your SEO is perfect, you're number one, like your number one ranking on Google Map, your number one ranking on Yelp, your number one is everywhere. Then you're like, okay, my SEO is in a good place. I should spend less time on SEO. And so I can start doing more community involvement. I should start going to more networking events, or I can put on my own events because I have more control over that. And events can be fantastic lead generation for your business. So that's the kind of thing you want to create. Once you take care of the high priority strategies, you spend less time on them, and that opens up time for your lesser priority strategies. And so you ultimately, in the end, do all of them. So let's go over what would happen on a typical work week, and you just recycle these work weeks. So every Monday, let's say you focus on getting reviews for your business. That's maybe reviews on Yelp or reviews on that Google map. That's all part of your local SEO. So maybe you do some other work for your local SEO, and maybe you write a blog post, as you can see. That's again for your SEO. So Monday you spend a couple of hours on SEO, and as long as you keep on working on your SEO long term, I can say, get like link building. And the time stamp here doesn't have to coincide with your work on it. You just allocate however much time you can to this. You don't want to allocate a relatively large block of time to the marketing, but you don't have to stay strict with the time, and you can put it wherever you want in the day. On Tuesday, the first thing we're doing is, you see I have listed working on ads. The second thing, website conversion. What can you do? Maybe you can add better images. Maybe you can hire a copywriter to write more compelling text for your website so that people engage. Maybe you can do more testing on it. Maybe you can see if it works on mobile. There's a lot of things you can do. And every time that you work on your website, if the engagement on your website improves, then you get more sales even without getting more traffic. So this is really important. At some point, like I said earlier, this slows down because you do get to a good place with your website, and your website at some point doesn't have to be updated a lot long term. But in the beginning, this is a big focus. Then on Tuesday, I added an interesting thing here. Meet with a local authority figure. This is part of your local networking. Like if you're a psychotherapist, let's say, and you want to build up a professional network for referrals, well, you can reach out, you can have coffee with colleagues. You can do things like that just so you can get to know other therapists in the area. Who knows what kind of referrals or business opportunities might come from that, especially if you don't directly compete. Like, let's say you are a therapist helping children and they're a therapist, maybe they're doing research, and maybe so you don't overlap, you don't compete for clients, but you do build up your network. And if they know of anybody who might use your services or might find your services useful, they might recommend you. And it's really good long term to build up a very strong professional business network. That's just good practice. So you want to spend a little time doing that. And then Wednesday, during the day, you can make a social media post, and a social media post that can be relatively similar for your Facebook, for your Instagram, for your Twitter. So you don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about posts. And then in the evening, again, the timestamp doesn't matter, but in the evening, you could maybe attend a networking event. And of course, your clients can be there, or you can establish professional relationships with your business peers. That's Wednesday. On Thursday, maybe you do a little bit more SEO, and maybe you research who the local influencers are so you can network with them so that you can get a little bit of their audience. They can help you raise awareness. On Fridays maybe typically for most businesses is a quieter business day. So maybe what you can do is focus on improving your product. And all the things I wrote here, these could be examples. Maybe you create a customer survey you send out. They will tell you what's wrong with your business, and that will be fantastic clues. And that will give you fantastic clues for knowing what to improve. Maybe you research new equipment to buy, which would help you serve your customers better. Maybe you take time to learn new skills. Maybe on Friday, you look into hiring and outsourcing so that you bring on better and more skills into your business. And then on Saturday, maybe you attend some kind of an event, community event. These events can be put on by any other organizations and you attend, or long term, you can start your own sort of a workshop or event series. And again, events, they're fantastic for building up awareness and actually getting leads for your business. And Sunday, you can have like a free day, whatever you want. I put improved product. You can do whatever that you feel like you didn't get done enough of during the week. That's what you can do on Sunday. Sunday can be like more or less a free day for you. And you just repeat. And notice that if you repeat these every week, you'll become better at all of these every week, as long as you pay attention to it and keep doing it consistently. Then all of these top 10 things right here, they will get done. And your marketing will fire on all cylinders, and you will beat at least 95% of other competitors, because what you'll be doing is a professional, organized approach that's systematic, consistent, long term. This is the winning way to go. What's not a winning way to go is to do this for 1 or 2 weeks and then kind of quit. But if you don't quit, if you stay with it, if you do each of these, this type of calendar will ensure that you're not just doing social media, but you're doing everything in order of priority for your business, and your marketing is professional and nothing is forgotten. Everything's being done. So you'll be winning long term.